One of the biggest pillars of rewiring the mind is self-talk, utilizing self-talk. For some people, there isn't anything going on up there. That's how it was for me. My self-talk was actually more like grunts. So if something didn't go my way, if I dropped a fork or whatever, there would be a outburst of fucking shit, piece of shit. Or if I lost my wallet or forgot something in the car, that's when my self-talk would come out, right? In my time alone, it was just always in this like negative state of being, just kind of wonky emotion, vegging out on TV, vegging out on scrolling, whatever it is, right? But there wasn't like a shit ton of existent narrative, right? But for a lot of people, there is. I had a call with a new client, and I actually have someone else in my life that has the same thing, right? Where there's multiple voices. Sometimes it's like conversations that are happening outside of the individual and you're not even a part of it, right? But whatever the nature of self-talk is, when you're on the path of rewiring your mind, you're practicing awareness throughout your day of your emotions, what your thoughts are, what your reactions are. You're practicing redirecting those thoughts, instilling new thoughts and things of that sort. But sometimes these negative thoughts, these negative perspectives, these negative words that pop up are so convincing that we feel that they're real. But if they're negative, they're conditioned thought. One could say it's all conditioned thought, right? So there's so many aspects of my life that are really, really positive to me now that I feel, but I could have said the same thing in the past, but now it's like, man, it's just so amazing, right? And you could say, well, that's conditioned thought. It's true. I chose to acknowledge that the negative conditioned thought that I had throughout my life was not mine. I realized that was a reality. I realized that the brain is malleable and we can change it. So I began to talk to myself in a different way. So when I work with people one-on-one, part of it is catching the negative patterns and redirecting them. But something else that's equally important is just taking the time where we are typically in an unconscious autopilot moment and utilizing that time to talk to ourselves about things that we're grateful for. If you have resistance to gratitude, I get it. I have a lot of content that talks about that, but man, it's so powerful. I used to be resistant as fuck to gratitude, but the science shows its benefit. It's not about, there's benefit. It's not about what you're thankful for or who you're thankful to. It's generating the emotion of gratitude. So taking the time where we're not doing anything else, right? And utilizing that time to, when you're driving down the road or you're walking in a park, whatever it is, where you're normally just kind of off the grid or you're disconnecting in some way, or you're just kind of in this autopilot mode, taking that time to talk to ourselves constructively. Because when we reach the point that we decide we want to rewire our mind, there's a couple of reasons, right? And it's broad scope, but one of those reasons is because of emotionally trying situations, different varying forms of trauma, right? But the other big part of it is all the conversations. It's all the conversations that we heard from our parents and the news and aunts, caretakers, grandparents, friends, teachers, coaches, and definitely interpersonal dynamics in school. It's all this stuff, right? And so that's just what the subconscious mind, what the brain took in. These are deep neurological pathways, right? So when we have negative, loud reactions, it's just conditioned thought. And the science shows that we would find benefit in redirecting that, right? And it's a practice. This is not a quick fix. It's not a pill you take, right? But man, this shit works, and man, is it powerful. So, outside of that, the biggest thing to take into account is your foundation. The foundation of having a morning and evening routine. It doesn't have to be perfect, but free from screens, because screens are not good for us in the first part of the morning and the last part of the day. The subconscious mind can be really loud when you first start doing this work. So if you don't go to your phone when you first wake up, now there's all these thoughts, right? But you just practice the awareness of letting them come and go, saying a different story, whatever works for you, some form of meditation. For me in the beginning, it was just getting outside and walking and listening to motivational tapes. That's better than looking at the screen, because the biggest thing that we want to avoid is the blue light in the morning and right before bed, because it has adverse effects on our melatonin and cortisol levels, which contributes to more stress, less clarity of thought, and not good stuff for overall health. Stress is the number one contributor to so many things that ail us down the road, but it's not about one big moment of stress. It's that underlying stress, which is rooted in the inner child, which is really what rewiring the mind is about. Gradually liberating the inner child.
Just you wait in Reagan, just you wait. You'll be sorry, but your tears will be too late. Just you wait in Reagan, just you wait. You'll be sorry, but your tears will be too late.